Okay, I think we're going to just begin here in the interest of everybody's time. Like every other Wednesday, I want to thank you all for taking time to be here, and as we continue to have this conversation and grow together and learn together about what we can do, what we have done in this whole effort to resettle the Afghans. Today, we're going to have almost our standard agenda. We're going to have our weekly update, and after the weekly update, we're going to touch a little bit on the Ukrainian refugee situation. We're going to talk a little bit about Project Hope. I'm going to combine item 3 and 4 on the agenda, unless somebody else on the team has a lot more to add on that. And then we're going to look at the shout outs, opportunities, and if there are questions, we'll take them. But before I go on to the weekly update, as always, I want to thank you all for being part of this effort. It has been a hugely collaborative effort that we have embarked on together, and it has not been without its challenges. But the most important thing is how we have all worked together to find answers within the community, and there are more answers to be found as we go along. The one thing that we have learned in this process is that, if people know what the challenges are, or if people know what the opportunities are, people can respond, which was the goal of having these weekly meetings, is really keeping everybody, all stakeholders in the community, abreast with what the opportunities were, what the challenges were, and giving everybody the opportunity or the chance to participate in our collective effort to welcome and resettle our Afghan new arrivals into St. Louis. And I hope that, I keep saying, I hope that this goes beyond just the Afghans, and this collaborative effort should extend to every refugee or every immigrant that finds their way into St. Louis, and how we can help them find a place, thrive in this community, and be able to contribute to the development of the community. And for that, I'm really grateful to all of you for taking time midday to be in those meetings. It speaks volumes of who we are as a community. And I just wanted to highlight that. With that in mind, we're going to go on to our weekly resettlement update, and I'll turn this to our Vice President for Client Services at the International Institute, Ariel Burgess.
Well, hello, everybody. Thank you, Ari. I hope everybody can hear me, yes? Okay, good. Just to give you a bit of an update on the arrivals that have arrived in March, we welcomed an Iraqi refugee family of six, and an Afghan refugee family of 3. Notice that I used the word refugee family, that neither one of these were Afghan parolees, even including the Afghan family of 3 that is arriving this month. As you've most probably talked about in previous conversations, Afghans will start to be processed as, quote, regular refugees, eventually phasing out of the Afghan parolee system. And we're starting to see a little bit of that. To date, for April so far, we have 2 families arriving, a Congolese family of 5 and a Sudanese single male. So far, that's all that we have for April. You'll notice that things have slowed down a bit, especially for those of us who were involved in resettlement in November, December, and even January of this year. And this is very, very typical for refugee resettlement. It typically goes up and down, up and down. I do expect that we will start to receive increased arrivals of both refugees and until they have arrived, Afghan parolees. Most probably, this is going to be a typical summer for refugee resettlement, where our numbers for refugee resettlement will start to increase. About May and June, continue on that pace. The last month in the fiscal year is September, and usually the government tries to get in as many people as they can in September to meet all of the national and local resettlement numbers. So starting in August and September, it'll get busier and it'll be even more of a rough ride. So I would really encourage everybody to just stay involved and stay active, even during this downtime of refugee resettlement. Time to touch base with people, make sure services are being done, make sure that families are enrolled in needed services, because soon, in the next couple of months, it's going to start to increase, and we'll be back to multiple arrivals of refugees coming to St. Louis. Now, regarding housing, in the past 2 weeks, we have had 16 cases, 47 individuals that have moved into their permanent housing over the past 2 weeks. This included large size families, which are harder to find housing for. In the past 2 weeks, a case of 6, 2 families sized 8 and a family of 9 have been able to be moved out of the hotel and into permanent housing. We try very, very hard to get people out of the hotels as soon as possible, because we do want them to live independently, and we want them to start to experience what it's like to live in St. Louis. And the first way to start with that is to have your own address, and preferably an address that's not a hotel address. Just so you know, one of the cases of 9 that has moved into their own housing has been in the hotel 126 days. And I think all of us know on this call that is not ideal. That is not what we really want. However, it is a reflection of the difficulty of finding large housing appropriate enough for larger size families. As of right now, we have 7 cases, or 52 individuals who are still in hotels, of which 2 cases, a family of 2 and another family of 9, are expected to move out of the hotel this week. The good news is that 92% of all APA arrivals are in permanent housing. And credit really has to go to not only the Institute housing staff and Institute staff in general, but also many volunteers that have reached out to us with available housing, willing to set up agreements and arrangements so that we can place individuals into housing. Just so you know, since February 7th, 49 cases have moved into their own housing, which is 167 individuals. The average hotel stay for a family of 1 to 5 has been about 35 days, whereas the average hotel stay for families of 6 or larger has been 58 days. I'll stop there and turn it over to the next presenter. I think, are we taking questions at the end, or?
Yeah, we will take questions at the end. So if anybody has questions for Aria, please do not hesitate. You could also put the questions in the chat. We're going to pick those up. I just want to thank Aria and your team. I know the team has worked extremely hard in the last 7 months. Well,
I think that in regards to housing, we also have to give credit to various community volunteers. There's no, I've done resettlement for 22 years, and I know the old system But with this many arrivals and this many large families and unique situations and desires and whatnot, we really need to open up our minds and think creatively and outside of the box, and not just do what we've done in the past.
Thank you very much, Ariel. That has worked, and it's for many of the people around this conversation who are part of this meeting, who your help has made the difference. So I want to thank you.
I could just add one little thing. I do want to mention that I'm talking about refugees in general. I know that many people are very excited and motivated to work with Afghans, but we are resettling other refugees in the area. As I mentioned, Congolese, Sudanese, and Iraqis, and some Afghans are coming as refugees and not parolees.
Thank you for that, for reminding us on that. Obviously, there is the ongoing conversation now about the Ukrainian situation, and we just wanted to quickly touch base on where we are with that. We all had the administration's announcement to take in 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. In the context of what's happening in Europe, we've seen the biggest refugee crisis. Within a very short period of time, a significant numbers of people have fled the country, and a significant number are still internally displaced. And who knows how long this war is going to last? But it's been 35 days. Who would have thought we would count this war lasting up to 35 days, and there's still no signs of the war slowing down. And with the number of refugees that are occupying European countries, I personally continue to believe that the United States may have to do more. But at this time, the announcement has been made about the US taking about 100,000 Ukrainian refugees. Unlike the situation with the Afghans, this is not time-bound. They're not rushing to get people on planes to get them into military bases and cities across the United States. The processes that will determine how they come in as refugees into the United States are still being defined and very unclear at this time. But definitely, once we get more information, we're going to be sharing that. One thing for sure is that we're going to see Ukrainians arrive to the United States, and obviously St. Louis will be one of those locations that they may find their way to, and we as a community may have to be prepared for that. And so we're learning as much as we can about the ongoing situation. We also don't want to be oblivious of the many questions and concerns that people in the community have been asking, knowing fully well that the images we see on television are heartbreaking, and many people. Yesterday, I was out with the St. Louis County executive because they were honoring the Ukrainians, and they were hoisting 12 Ukrainian flags at the St. Louis County, and I was out there representing the International Institute. And obviously this question kept on arising as to what can we as a community do to support the relief efforts to protect the children that are being harmed, and the hundreds and thousands and millions of refugees that are fleeing the country. What can we do? We have been thinking about that, and I know we shared with you all that we really encourage people to participate with the international organizations that are conducting relief efforts. But we didn't stop there. We started reaching out to organizations like CARE International and the Red Cross to find out how, if people in St. Louis wanted to be involved. And we had this really interesting conversation with an organization called Project Hope that is currently shipping medical supplies. They're based out in Washington, D.C., but have people on the ground that are working, you know, in Poland and Romania and all of these frontline countries. And we thought that that was a good organization to just collaborate with. And the goal here is to provide the St. Louis community a lot more practical information about needs, so that if people wanted to contribute, they can contribute. That will not be a contribution that is made to the International Institute. It would be a contribution that is made directly to Project Hope. And Project Hope commits itself to providing updates to the St. Louis community or through us on what is being done on the ground. So that's one thing that we've been working on, and we will be able to make that announcement soon, and people can be able to support the efforts on the ground. But by doing that, we hope that we are also going to be learning a lot more about the Ukrainians, learning a lot more about what the needs are. And so when we begin to see people arrive, we hope that that's going to, one, make us more prepared as a team, but two, also give the opportunities for Ukrainians who are looking for a place to find refuge, to look at St. Louis as a community that has concerns for them, even as they face this urgent crisis. So that's the update that we wanted to just share with you with reference to the Ukrainian refugees. I don't know if there's anybody else, whether Carrie's on the team, because Carrie has been working on this with Project Hope. If there's anything that I left out, Carrie, that you would like to share, please do. Without which, I would like to move on to the next item on the agenda.
I would like to just say,
yes, Ariel.
I would just like to say that the Lautenberg program for the Ukrainians has been renewed. So we are able, resettlement agencies are able to do applications for Ukrainian family unification if the Ukrainian individual is still in Ukraine and is considered to be a member of a religious minority, and the US-based family member either has a green card or is a citizen. I myself do the Lautenberg applications. However, this Friday, we will have an immigration, a new immigration staff who will take that responsibility over. So give her a couple of weeks just to get familiar with the variety of family unification applications that we can do. And we'll be able to start doing Lautenberg applications for Ukrainians.
And just to piggyback off that, the commitment to 100,000 refugees being resettled here does not guarantee that 100,000 people will come through the refugee resettlement program. The administration made it very clear that there could be other ways that people could be admitted. The Lautenberg program certainly is one of those ways that they'll be counting individuals as coming as refugees. So just for clarification, this 100,000 over a period of time, yeah, it's undefined, but we also don't know the method, right? And so as we learn a little bit more, as time passes, I'm sure we'll gain a little bit more clarity around the avenues and routes that people will be able to arrive here through. And of course, when we have that information, we'll be sharing that in this group.
Thank you, Ariel and Blake. Any other comments with reference to the Ukraine situation? Seeing and hearing none, let's go on to, well, this is Carlos or Kelly. Just shout out if Kelly is here, please.
Hi, everybody. I'm at the commands.
Hey, Kelly.
Kelly.
Yes, I'm at the command center, so you don't really get a good visual, but we're having a watch party, one of my favorite activities. There are 4 of us here, 5 of us. So this is my favorite slide of the day. because I get to say thank you to all of the wonderful organizations and community members who have supported us. And so let's just go to it. Little Angels Foundation, they continue to provide food for the people in the hotels. Thank you so much. House of Goods also providing dinner for people in the hotels. Thank you. Kindness Begins With Me. This is a newer relationship, I believe, in the last 2 weeks. And this organization is assisting with English classes for the children and assisting with our women's program. So they are also targeting the children at the hotels. So they are providing needed relief for those children who have been not in school yet, but that program is running beautifully, and thank you to them. Welcome Neighbor, many of us know they've been a partner of ours for a while, and they miraculously donated 300 mobile phones. That's so exciting. The command center is working quickly to try to figure out how to distribute and pass out those phones. So thank you, Welcome Neighbor, that's amazing. The Islamic Center of Hazelwood, they have donated new clothing and new items from Target. So while we're giving away items on Mondays and Wednesdays, it's always nice to give away new items. So it appears that the new neighbors love to shop in the gym and they love taking the new things. So thank you to that center. And then a repeat customer, or many of these people are repeat, so that's amazing. But I don't know how to pronounce it, so I'm just gonna say the Muslim community at the end there, the Ahmadiyya maybe, that Muslim community located in North County somewhere. They have come to volunteer, and when they come, they typically bring a cash contribution. So they're amazing. We're all amazing. We're all doing hard work. Thank you very much to our community shout outs. Oh, 2 more that didn't make the list, but I have in my brain. I went on vacation for a week. And when I came back, I got many calls telling me that there were lots of donations in the hallway. So the command center and team and I went downstairs and we got to unpack probably 50 boxes of new in-kind donations from our Amazon wish list. And that's amazing. So it was fun to unpack and fun to see all the notes. Somebody wrote, "Blessings to you all, you're doing fabulous work." So it's kind of fun to see people's notes. They're random community members. I mean, they have names, but many of them don't put their names on the little Amazon card. So thank you to all of those community members who go to our Amazon wish list and buy the much needed items that are on that list. And then lastly, but not leastly, there is one more announcement that will come later, but I think the last announcement is that we are anticipating a Ramadan giveaway. So Ramadan is starting April 3rd, and the command center team is working on a distribution event for Ramadan. So more details to come, but that's going to also involve community support and people like you on the call. So thank you, thank you, thank you. Happy rainy day. Let's hope there's sunshine in the near future and you're not getting wet when you leave the office today. Okay, and we're gonna have one more, we're gonna go to the next slide. Armina, wonderful, okay. So we're gonna give you a quick update. This has also been the highlight of this week. I've had the great pleasure of collaborating with some of our partners. As you can see here, we're already planning for National Appreciation Week, National Volunteer Appreciation Week. That happens April 17th to the 23rd. And we are going to have a collaborative event on Tuesday, April 19th from 5 to 7 p.m. This is going to be an invitation event. So the 4 organizations, Welcome Neighbor, Oasis International, Christian Friends of New Americans, and all the people who have helped us since August will be hopefully invited to this event. It is going to be RSVP because the venue only holds about 400 people. I know we have more than 400 people that have helped. But as many of you know, not all the volunteers care about coming to an event. So we're hoping it's a huge success. I'm hoping the room is full at 400. And if you've been a volunteer for us, you should be receiving an invitation in the next couple days. So thank you to the collaborations and friends who are helping plan this event.
So Kelly, am I invited to that event?
Riz, of course you are invited.
Because I've not started from August, so I thought I'll just clarify.
Okay, like I said, anyone who's volunteered since August to help us with this tremendous, I'm calling it the historical year, right? This is historical for many reasons, particularly because of what we just accomplished in the last 4 or 5 months. So yes, next slide, Armina. Okay, now I'm gonna give the microphone to Carlos, the Logistics Command Center guru, and he will tell you what's happening for support.
Thanks, Kelly. Great to see everyone again this afternoon. Just wanted to highlight again, there's always still continued opportunity to support and volunteer for this with everyone who's arrived. Of course, we're still expecting more arrivals, but we still do have needs, ongoing needs in terms of apartment setups, which are usually scheduled daily from 9:30 in the morning or 1 o'clock in the afternoon, whichever fits your schedule. And we're still looking for volunteers across the board. I'll just mention a couple other things with our Women's Community Literacy Program, our mock interviews and job interviews workshop, and public transportation guides. These are things that we're really looking for additional support in the coming days and weeks. So we appreciate you being on the lookout for these magnificent volunteer opportunities on our volunteer application and through our website. We also want to highlight, we are going through a number of grocery gift cards and quarters to continually support the families and individuals staying at hotels, but also that have been located into permanent housing. So for organizations and groups or individuals that want to support, really the essential food needs, we continually we go through about a few $1,000s a week in grocery gift cards. So we'd be happy to receive additional contributions of grocery gift cards, quarters for laundry. And of course, our TAO fund can be supported with these efforts as well via our website. So we can go to the next slide. And just again, the volunteering can be done through the International Institute's website. Just as a reminder, everyone who does volunteer needs to go through a background check where there's a $10 processing fee and it takes about 72 hours. And then once that's complete, there's a plethora of opportunities for individuals to engage with via the International Institute's volunteering opportunities. We're also looking for more community members to support the arrival of Afghan families, of all families actually, coming to St. Louis. And WAFA, who oversees that program, can be reached at the email there to really share light on our community support program and how we're engaging with the new arrival families, pairing them to support their ongoing success and providing them continual hope here in the St. Louis community and integrating. And then again, we have a lot of needs. Cash contributions or donations are always greatly appreciated and accepted, which does go a long way, and there's still a ton of need, as I'm sure you can see. So we appreciate everyone's contribution that has already contributed and your future contribution here, in the ongoing situation. So thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Carlos, for that update on what's going on at the command center. Quickly, I know talking about volunteers, I know I would call on our Vice President for Education here at the International Institute, Anita, to talk a little bit about volunteer needs. We always need volunteers. So Anita, please.
Thank you, RA, and thank you everyone for being on this call. I put in the chat, and I was having Zoom problems. I apologize, but as Carlos and Kelly mentioned, we do have many volunteer needs. We have more than 25 clients who have to go through job interview practice in order to get a job. And several volunteers we were expecting for this Friday had to cancel at the last minute. So we are desperately looking for people who would like to be a part of this very meaningful experience for the clients we work with. It's trainer-led, materials provided. We do training from 9:30 till 10, and then the clients begin their job interview practice with this trainer-led group workshop experience. From 10 until 12:30. If anyone is available, please, 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 you can either email me or the volunteer local link was provided, I believe, or on our website, there is volunteer opportunities, episodic and ongoing. This would be considered an episodic volunteer experience. So we hope that somebody can set aside the time to help us this Friday, April 1st. And after that, every 2 weeks, we have job interview workshops scheduled. Thank you so much for letting me share that.
Thank you, Anita. I hope that we're going to have some response coming from the audience. And if you all can share this on your various platforms, that would be helpful. This is really that next phase of resettlement, trying to get people into jobs, and this interview exercise is actually going to be really helpful for them as they begin to get used to some of the processes that we who live here are more accustomed to. So thank you very much for sharing that, and hopefully I'll thank all of those who volunteered to join that. At this point, are there any questions? Reese, I saw that you had a question with reference to providing food for Ukrainian refugees. Obviously, yes, Reese would like to see this collaboration continue. You know, at such a time when we begin to see Ukrainian refugees arrive, we will certainly reach out to you for help with that.
So Ari, thank you. I have a question, not just about the food. We would love to help them whatever way we can, whether it's like brand new bed sheets and to the Ukrainian refugees we are talking about, and already whatever way we can help them with. And
oh, yeah.
I heard about about 100,000. I don't know how many will come to St. Louis, 10 to 15% of that. But already we are always there, even whether we sign up or not. I just wanted to request, please consider us sign in. That already we would always, at a short notice, we'll do it.
Absolutely. We're totally counting on you, on your help and support to make this happen. It's been really great working with you and your team, and we'd like to see this relationship continue to grow.
And we made you work. Remember last time you went to deliver, you were at the hotel. We said pick up the bags, you know, and deliver. So thank you for that.
Yeah, it was a pleasure, Mayana. Any other questions that anyone has or comments before we?
There's some questions in the chat if we want to go through.
Sorry. Peter Tao did ask about who's running the soccer program. Moji, do you?
So the soccer program started out with an initiative from the Afghans Community Support Program. So right now we are continuing the 12 weeks of soccer. It's happening at Football STL. It's Saturdays from 4 to 6. So where's the question? I'm sorry.
Well, it's Peter asked the question about who's running it. And I think at the end, if somebody can, Moji, if you can put in your email address. So
yes, I'll do it right now.
If Peter would want to have a follow-up conversation, happy to. Moji is responsible for the Afghan Community Support Program. which includes the soccer program that has a collaborative team around it. But if any questions can be directed to Moji with reference to that program.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Yeah.
I've shared my email.
Okay, great. Another question from Peter is, have there been any issues or discoveries once they are in permanent housing, settling, lessons learned? I would venture into saying this, but Blake, you can join in, or maybe even Carlos. Lessons learned, one of the things is really, first thing about housing is ensuring that the quality of the housing, ensuring that there is effective communication with the landlords to make sure that everything is ready. Because whilst we may assume that everybody can operate the heating or the gas, there have been cases where people have gone into the housing and for some reason thought that the heating was not working, and all it needed was education on how to operate it. So those are some challenges, and all of those challenges have stemmed primarily from communication and in terms of language and things like that. That's one thing that I've noticed. Secondly, there is a lot more that goes into putting people into a building, which even has to do with the community around the building, understanding that there are people who are coming into that community and finding a way to make people welcome into that community is some of the things that I, from my vantage position, have been learning. There is a lot more to getting a family into a house than just the logistics of the house. It's community, it's safety, it's all of the things that anyone who moves into a new community would have trepidations about. And that's one thing that I would say I've learned in this exercise. But Blake, I'm sure there's a lot more that we can talk about.
Well, I mean, the support that we offer does not end at housing, right? And it goes well beyond just housing challenges. There's a reason why we have multiple programs that allows folks to receive service up to 5 years after arrival. And so once folks are in their housing, of course, they're working to learn how to pay bills on their own. They're learning how to go through their own mail. They're learning how to navigate their community, where the nearest grocery store is, the bus routes, et cetera, et cetera. So there's a lot more learning that goes on, and a lot more lessons that have been learned by our clients, and that we're learning about the needs that folks have. They're not inconsistent with the groups and the lessons that we've learned from groups past that we've resettled. I think what we have been seeing a lot of is this question of cultural adjustment, and how rents can be paid with possibly one family member intending to go to work when you have very large families. And so these are sort of cultural learnings and understandings that we're trying to work through, helping creating family household budgets to understand what the costs and expenses are on a monthly basis that folks will be responsible for once the financial support begins to fade away from the Institute. And so it's really a lot of ongoing education that is occurring. And I do want to give Ariel a chance to respond, as well as what she and the case management team have been working with clients on once they get into their own housing.
I think that we are seeing the same situations that Blake has just mentioned. Communication is key. Are you there?
Yeah, we can hear you.
I'm sorry, my monitor just went blank. We're seeing communication. It's difficult with as many people involved. It's positive on one hand to have many people involved, including the clients, volunteers, caseworkers, other interested individuals, but it sometimes can be very difficult not knowing who is doing what. I know that there have been volunteers that have been going out and trying to find housing, while at the same time we're also trying to find housing, and that's not an issue. That's great, but it usually whoever finds housing first then notifies the other person or the other entity that housing has been found, and there's very little communication during that process because we're dedicated and focused on finding that housing. You know, you have to keep in mind also that clients are looking to, you know, get their needs met as soon as possible. And I'm not going to fault anybody for reaching out to any number of people to get a need met, even if that means then that they have 3 different entities working on that one common need. So communication is critical, and as always can be improved upon.
Thank you very much, Ariel and Blake, for sharing thoughts on that. There is a question for Blake. Blake, it says, have you been able to win over any organizational support for the Afghan Adjustment Act? So this is in regard to the conversation we're having with Senator Blunt's office. And this is from Emir.
Yeah, so we've actually disseminated a sign-on list, and I think we that is not closed at this point. We can continue to circulate that, seeking sign-ons from organizations that support an Afghan Adjustment Act that would allow the Afghans that are here to immediately apply for permanent residency status without having to go through the process of asylum, which is an incredibly long, involved, and expensive process. The Adjustment Act, there was initial hopes in the initial spending bill that it would be attached, but at this point, well, it ended up not being attached. There are several more bills with broad bipartisan support that are now the target of inclusion for the Afghan Adjustment Act. We have not had an advocacy call with a USCRI in the last several weeks. To hear about a new strategy or any new specific bill, but we are still encouraging everybody who has been rallied around this issue of support for the Afghan Adjustment Act to continue to have their voices heard in forums, great and small. Of course, signing the letter is very helpful, but anything anybody can do to write to our representatives in Congress around the importance of this act and continuing welcoming beyond just arrival, right? If we really want folks that we're working with to succeed in our community, they need to have a status that will allow them to put down roots, and permanent residency will allow that. And without it, there's just much more uncertainty and a longer tail for folks to become truly settled and comfortable with establishing their lives here. And what we know from our experience is we cannot let this issue of status become a barrier to welcoming. And to truly have folks feel welcome, they need to be able to be safe and secure here. And the Adjustment Act will create that safety and security. And so we encourage everybody who has signed on to continue reaching out to your elected representatives to talk about the importance of this. And of course, when we do have another, I believe either later this week or maybe it's next week, we have another advocacy call with USCRI. So we should have another update soon about the national strategy that's underway in DC to get this attached to a bill and see it pass through.
Thank you very much, Blake. One last one before we say up something, but I as a follow-up to the conversation from Peter Tao with reference to the soccer program, I think Peter would like to know whether there are any needs. And either Moji or Carlos, any of you can respond to particularly needs. I know there is always the ongoing need of providing transportation on the day off, but please, Moji or Carlos or Kelly, any of you could take that.
So that soccer program has been amazing. I think we have 4 more weeks left of funding that supports the actual location. We do have a team of coworkers who are meeting to talk about the next version of the soccer program. You know, this was perfect for the winter because the kid, you know, there wasn't really many places for them to go. So there's conversations about how we continue and maybe expand the program. So really for that soccer program, resources are needed, you know, money to pay for facilities, or we've got feelers out in lots of different places. We are not right at the moment asking for donations of soccer shoes because we're afraid of getting 2 million soccer shoes. So we know that St. Louis is a soccer city, soccer town. We have conversations going with the city MLS team. So today, March 28th, I don't know the future of the program, but I can certainly say that it will continue. It's just in what capacity and in what arena. And by arena, I mean space, and you know, maybe we take it outside. So there's lots of things going on. So Peter, if that really interests you, or if anybody is really in love with soccer, Moji will be the one to email if you have ideas and or resources. I do want to say that even though the idea came out of the Afghan Community Support Program, it is open to all new arrivals. So, you know, STL football, the city team, everybody is anxious to have it be for all new arrivals. So that too plays into the factor of the next planning stages.
Yeah, my question was to expand on that. Obviously, there's efforts going on by many different organizations, and that started, and certain organizations started helping with all refugees during the completion of the Nahed Chapman Field back in 2016. That said, the reason why my question was there is not that it's just a soccer interest, but it's obviously very impactful for the kid. And it means so much from that mental health point of view and feeling a part, other than all the wonderful things that are done that the kid doesn't necessarily appreciate or understand when when you just give food and help at the home. So I think things like this, it doesn't have to be soccer either, but things like this I think are so impactful for daily life, feeling welcome, and mental health. So by all means, please make sure it's well known what your needs are or what you're thinking, or if you need assistance. That's really it.
Thank you.
Peter, thank you so much. If you don't mind, real quick, Peter, thank you so much. And this is Moji. I am completely in agreement with you and aligned with you on that perspective. I will, if you don't mind just shooting me an email, I would like to have a one-on-one conversation with you as far as all the things that we're planning. And I'm sure we can figure out a way that we can work together to make it better together. Thank you so much.
Okay.
Well, thanks. I hope that I've covered all the questions that are in the chat. And with that, I would like to thank everybody for being here today. Thank you for your continuous support to this initiative, which clearly we see is growing beyond just the Afghan resettlement and really becoming really a collaborative effort in this community as we continue to work towards making it, more welcoming for everyone who comes here. So thank you for your time. And we will have another meeting in 2 weeks from now. We'll send out an invite for that meeting, and hopefully we'll come to you with even a lot more updates, particularly with reference to the Ukraine situation, because things have been moving really, really fast with that. And with the lessons we've learned in the last 7 months, I really would like to see us as a community actually be ahead of the wave and be very prepared. I'm confident that we are, but we should never take anything for granted. So thank you very much. Thank you all for your time, and have a wonderful rest of the day and rest of the week.
Thank you, RA, and your strong team. You guys are really doing amazing work, and we are proud to be associated with you guys.
Thank you. Thank you, Reese.
Thank you.